Hi, everybody.
Hello, what's up?
Today we're reading in Kabbalah for the Student on page 591, item 50, which is unmarked under the heading Rosh Toch Sof in each partsuf and the order of Itlapshut of the partsufim on one another.
So again, page 594.
591.
591, sorry. See,
What would be item 50?
it's good that I checked myself. Yeah, so we're going back.
So how was the retreat? The retreat, I guess, good?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it was over the weekend. Got a lot of good feedback. Everybody that was there, I guess you saw from Israel, Gilad Shir, Niv Novon.
Yeah, that was nice.
Those guys are really great.
A big basketball hall with a lot of friends. So we hope it was nice. Okay. Actually, we see Alec and Dejan for the first time. You know that only a few weeks ago I found out it's not the same person. I just thought it was always Alec Dejan from Spain. Yeah. So now they split actually to two people.
In your perception.
Yeah. Okay. So have we got new people here? Somebody that wasn't with us from the beginning? Write down in the chat, please, or say hello. And I hope everybody's feeling good. If you're feeling a bit lost, Dan will be more than happy to do a general review from the beginning. Okay, no comments in the chat. So we can just move on to the material, I guess.
Okay, great. So last week, we talked about Tanta, Ta'amim Nekudot, Tagin, and Otiyot. So we'll incorporate that a little bit into the review today for the main thing. But the main topic is really the structure of the partsuf today and how they clothe on one another, how they're kind of connected to one another. And we'll see actually towards the end that there's a little bit of ambiguity in that, in how they connect, and we'll take a look at some diagrams in the back of the book.
Ambiguity as in?
Ambiguity, what?
What does it mean? The word ambiguity.
Oh, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Like a lack of clarity, like something is not, like something isn't well defined.
Okay, a bit foggy. Okay. Yeah. Ambiguity.
Yeah.
Okay. The word itself was ambiguity. See?
Ambiguous.
Yeah. Ambiguous. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Many people are joining like in the last 2 minutes. Maybe if you wait 3 more minutes, we'll have more people. So if you don't want to,
what should we do in the meantime?
You can tell a joke.
Tell a joke.
Yeah, or something like that, or sing a song. No, we shouldn't wait. We should start on time. We should be more German oriented. Okay, but again, for those who joined in the last 2 minutes, if something is unclear or if you joined later in this course, you feel free to ask any question in the chat. Okay, please, Dan.
All right, so in the beginning, the Creator created the will to receive. Why did he do that? Because he's the will to bestow, and he needs something to bestow to. So to create this perfect symbiotic system, we have two forces, the force to bestow and the force to receive, or the thought of creation and the purpose of creation. So we have a mechanism that allows the creature to bestow back to the Creator, to rise to the level of the Creator in equivalence of form with the Creator. And that mechanism is implemented in what's called a zivug de haka'a. Zivug. Zivug de haka'a. So zivug is mating or coupling. De haka'a. Haka'a is an impact. So you have an impact and coupling at the same time. So what does that mean? And this is all review, hopefully. So what we have is the thought of creation, the desire of the Creator to bestow to the creature. And we call that the upper light, or the Or Yashar, direct light. And this impacts, after the first restriction, a screen that the creature, or Malchut, has erected. over its will to receive for its own sake. And this screen functions as a barrier, not allowing the light to enter the Kli. But at the same time, the screen interacts with the light itself, kind of analyzing it, feeling it, and creating and mating with it, essentially. So that's the zivug part. The Akka part is the blocking it and sending it back. And as a consequence of that, we have the creature's intention to bestow back to the creator. And this intention to bestow is, depending on the screen, but let's say in our case, just a complete screen that fully clothes the creator's intention to bestow to the creature. And this intention to bestow back to the creator is called Or Chozer, the returning light. So again, this is from the subjective perception of the creature that this light is somehow returning back to the creator. Okay, so what happens? So, upon a successful zivug da'aka, we have some light that enters the Kli, that enters this partzuf, what is now becoming a partzuf. And it enters it to the point where the creature is comfortable with bestowing that much to the creator. In other words, the Or Chozer, although it closed the entire Or Yashar here, we see that, in fact, the creature is not able to take in all the light of the creator. In fact, a very, very small part, what we call like a thin line, and that ends up in the actual vessel. And the rest of it is left as surrounding light. But in our case, when we're talking about the zivug, what we have is a space below it in the sof of the partzuf, which, as we'll learn about this more today, but it differs from the internality of the partzuf, the toch of the partzuf, by the fact that it's not fully adhering to the creator here. So there's no adhesion to the creator here. There's just partial adhesion to the creator. But we are talking about a spiritual partzuf, all in all. So this whole object has perception and awareness of the creator. So it's not like it's completely detached from the creator here. The screen, unlike what we experience in our day-to-day lives, actually covers all of this light. So even here, there's contact with the creator. So this light that enters is called Or Pnimi. I'm not going to label it in the meantime. Let's label some other stuff, though. So up here, where the decision is made, this area is called the Rosh of the partzuf. This area down here that actually implements is called the Guf. So the Rosh is up to the screen from the top of the direct light, and the Guf comes down to the Siyum of the partzuf. Let's label these guys. Siyum, this is the Peh. This is where the screen is in the Rosh. This is the Tabur. The Tabur divides the amount that the light that the creature can take into the Kli versus the light that it can't. This area is called the Toch. Toch is like the inside, and Sof is the end. As in Ein Sof, no end. So this is the end of this thing. One important thing to label here is we have two screens. We have two interesting screens. So I'm going to draw them in different colors. We have this screen. The colors are insignificant here. I just chose them arbitrarily. We have two screens here. So this screen is called Malchut. Can we see that? Malchut. Mizdaveget, or the mating malchut, as we'll see in, as referenced in the book, but we're going to call it Mizdaveget, as in performing a zivug. So in Hebrew, we take, this is like, you can kind of start to hear a little bit how we take the noun form of zivug and Mizdaveget, like zivuging almost. This is the structure that changes that into a
verb.
It is a verb, but it's really an adjective in this case. Like the screen is the one that's Mizdaveget. It's performing as you.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, yeah, but it's
I thought verb too.
Also the action that
okay. Get Mizdaveget, and here we have malchut. Malchut. Can you see this? Is the resolution high enough for you to see the... It's good? Okay, thanks. Malchut ha-misayemet. Misayemet, from the word siyum, end, finish. So you can say mizdaveget, zivug, misayemet, siyum. Misayemet. So we have these two malchuyot. Oh, whoops, I didn't use a different color. I'm not going to redraw that. It's a lot of writing.
Yeah, it looks bad in English.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Mizdaveget, Misayemet.
What can you do?
Actually, it's Misayemet, but I won't ruin your day.
Misayemet?
Misayemet, yeah. But,
with an E?
Doesn't matter. You sound like a
Misayemet.
It's okay. You sound like an English speaker that learned English.
Misayemet?
Misayemet.
Misayemet?
Yeah, it's actually, but it doesn't really matter.
It matters.
To whom?
To me.
Okay, whatever.
So this is an E. Misayemet.
Yeah, that's a huge change. Now everything is clear.
Mizdaveget, Misayemet.
Yeah.
All right. The least we can do is be precise. Hopefully, it's not the most we can do today. Okay, so what do we have here? We have. So last week we actually learned that. Okay, so that's coming from here. So last week we learned about Tanta. So Ta'amim Nekudot Tegin Otiyot, and in this structure we have that going on. We're not going to go too far into that construction today, but just to remind you, we have Ta'amim is the light that comes in. Nukudot, that we'll talk about a little more today, is as we have Bitush of Or Pnimi and Or Makif, this screen starts to come up, starts to purify its way up, creating partzufim of Nikudot. And then the Rishimot that are left over from the initial emanation are called Nikudot Tagin. And Otiyot are the Kelim that are left over from the purification. One thing to note is that the Or Choser are 10 Sfirot that are new. I'm going to call them new here. A more precise term, I think, would be emanated. The creature emanates 10 brand new Sfirot from its screen. The Or Yashar we kind of have shining from the creator constantly, but these roots of the Kilim and these Kilim down here, we also have 10 new Kilim. Also 10 new Sfirot that are emanated as part of the goof. So you can either look at the whole goof as 10 Sfirot, or you can look at the Toch as 10 Sfirot and the Sof as 10 Sfirot. Either way, they're emanated by the creature, as in the creature feels itself creating these new vessels. So that's like a little note on the side. One last little tidbit is that the Siyum are also going to be referenced today as Etzbaot Raglin.
What you're going to write it? Oh my God.
Etzbaot. We're going to see it in a second in the text. Etzbaot Raglin.
Wow.
And this is essentially toes, if we want to translate that. Like toes on your feet.
Explain, but Okay. Raglin is come from the word, it's in ancient Hebrew. Usually in modern Hebrew you say raglaim with the mem in the end. But anyway, raglaim or raglin, it means legs, okay? And it also comes from the shoresh, how do you say shoresh of the root of the word? So it comes from leragel, to spy. So there are different meanings, but it's like legs, and it also comes from the same root of habit. So you'll see later on that many words in Hebrew, like, usually have different references according to spiritual meaning, although Hebrew speakers today doesn't know at all why it's so. And etzbaot is like fingers, yeah. So
the leg fingers.
no, but also in the hand you say etzbaot, like.
Yeah, but
you have a name of each etzba, but still you have etzbaot.
So so toes.
Yeah, so together there are toes, and we have a question if you want to take it or later on.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to label is that under this line, under the siyum, we have an empty void. Empty void, which are synonymous, but yes, question.
Yeah, Ken is asking, so the masach at once reflects and allows light in it is
Permeable.
The extra light that it cannot take in, it reflects back.
No, that's well, kind of, I guess, but it doesn't do it like a membrane would. It does it like in the same time. It does it in separate stages. You have full reflection, 100%. It reflects the light completely, forming the Or Choser. And then by the Or Choser clothing the Or Yashar, it creates new kilim. So like the light that enters here, the Or Pnimi, is not the same light that's up here, the Or Yashar. So it's not simply filtering this light and letting it in as is. It's actually changing it completely. Like you can say 180 degree. Like it's completely different. The light, the kilim that are down here are not at all the kilim. And we learn this from like from the four phases of the direct light, just like we learn everything else. That the light, or like, you know, with the example of the host and the guest, is that the host initially wanted the guest to have the food. Just enjoy the food. I know you're hungry, enjoy it, no problem. But the guest, with all of his, you know, kind of complexes and whatever, like different sorts of characteristics, the guest turns that into a relationship with the host. So we can think of this light as more of like a much deeper kind of fulfillment than just this. In here, in the Toch of the Partzuf, you have true adhesion with the Creator.
Yeah, just to add on that, following Dan example, so these are like two different actions, striking and then mating, like akara and zivug. So first of all, 100% of the light comes as Or Yashar, 100% of the light returns, reflects back as Or Choser. So you don't receive anything. And then you make a calculation how much you can actually receive in order to bestow. So why did Dan say that it's a completely different reality? So in the example of the host and the guest, in the beginning, the food is something to fulfill my hunger. Then I reject it all, 100%, nothing for myself. Meaning the food stayed the same, but for me, it's not the same. Because now, after I completely rejected it, now the food is just an instrument to get into adhesion with the host. So it's like the same food, but it's a completely different function. So it's 100% striking back, not letting anything go in, and then you have a calculation how much you actually can use. Ben is asking, so the kelim below the peh are kelim of bestowal rather than kelim of reception?
Yes, actually, it's bestowal. So this is all for the sake of bestowal. We're talking about intention. All the intention under the screen by definition, is for the sake of bestowal. This is reception for the sake of bestowal, and this is bestowal for the sake of bestowal. You may wonder why not receiving is considered bestowal. Any more questions?
Yeah, no, the definition is wrong in the question, because you don't have kelim of reception in the meaning of receiving. After Tzimtzum Aleph, after the first restriction, reception was cancelled from being kelim. You cannot use the malchut as a kli. Kelim.
The intention of receiving.
Yeah, the kelim after the first restriction are only being built from the masach and the or chozer. So only the intention to bestow are becoming kelim, and then you can divide, just like Dan said. Either we're talking about kelim in reception in order to bestow, or bestow in order to bestow. This is not for now, but the difference between them is how much resistance can you hold, meaning how much are you capable of diving into reception and still staying in the intention to bestow.
Yeah, but we should mention that sometimes we do say kilim of bestowal, which is just shorthand for kilim of reception for the sake of bestowal.
Yeah, but it's not for now. Okay, Dan is asking, is the screen the intention?
The screen is, I think it's powered by the intention, you can say.
Yeah.
The creature wants to be like the creator, which is bestowing. And as a result of that, it has the driving force or the motivation to erect the screen.
There are like two parts in the screen. You need to maybe go back a bit to like 10 lessons back or something like that. When we talked about the tzimtzum, that in the intention to bestow, you have like actually the screen, which means I don't receive anything. And then you have the or chozer, which means how much can I calculate in order to bestow. This is a bit confusing because also Kabbalists sometimes differentiate between the screen that does the restriction and the screen that actually makes the action of or chozer. So you have the observation, but it's not so important for now, I guess. But it's like higher resolution. Okay, that's it.
All right, so I guess we could start reading if there are more questions.
Let's do it. So we're on page 591, item 50, title, the Rosh Toch Sof in each Parzuf and the order of the Itlapshut of the Parzufim in one another. Again, the Rosh Toch Sof in each Parzuf and the order of Itlapshut of the Parzufim in one another. 50. You already know the difference between the two Malchuts in each Parzuf, the mating Malchut and the ending Malchut. 10 Sfirot of Or Chozer emerge from the Masach in the mating Malchut, clothing the 10 Sfirot of upper light called 10 Sfirot de Rosh. That is only roots. From there down, the 10 Sfirot de Guf of the Parzuf expand in the form of Itlapshut, clothing, of lights in complete Kelim. These 10 Sefirot de Guf are divided into two discernments of 10 Sefirot. 10 Sefirot de Toch, insides, and 10 Sefirot de Sof, end or conclusion. The position of the 10 Sefirot de Toch is from the Peh to the Tabur, the place of the clothing of the lights in the Kelim. The 10 Sefirot of the end of the Parzuf are positioned from the Tabur down to the Siyum Raglin.
Ana, אפשר שרטוט? תודה.
This means that Malchut ends each Sphira until it reaches itself, which is unfit to receive any light. Hence, the Parzuf ends there. This cessation, that's how you say it? What
Like cease and desist.
Desist, like
Cease.
and desist. Oh, really? So you can say desist without the D in the beginning?
No, cease.
So cease is like
Stopping.
finishing from existing, yes?
Yeah.
But don't you say like a deceased person, like somebody with a D in the beginning, somebody that died? No?
That's something different.
That's something different. Okay, so this means sounded the same.
Move a little bit to your right.
Okay, I'm moving a bit to the right. This means that Malchut ends each Sphira until it reaches itself, which is unfit to receive any light. Hence, the Parzuf ends there. This cessation is called the end of the Etzbaot Raglin, of the Parzuf. And from there down, it is an empty space, a void without light. Know that these two kinds of 10 sefirot extend from the root 10 sefirot, called Rosh, since both are included in the mating Malchut. This is so because there is the clothing power here, the Or Choser that rises and closes the upper light. There is also the Masach detaining force over Malchut, so it would not receive the light, by which the Zivug De'aka that raises Or Choser was done. Again, this is like a bit complicated. I'll reread this paragraph. Know that these two kinds of 10 sefirot extends from the root 10 sefirot, called Rosh, since both are included in the mating Malchut.
That's Malchut means the Veged.
Yeah. This is both meaning the Toch and the Sof. This is so because there is the clothing power there, the Or Choser, that rises and closes the upper light. There is also the Masach's detaining force over Malchut, so it would not receive the light, by which the Zivug De'aka that raises Or Choser was done at the Rosh. These two forces are only roots in the Rosh. They are roots. Yet, when they expand from above downwards, the first force, which is a clothing force, is executed in the 10 sefirot the Toch, from the Peh down the Tabu, and the second force, which detains Malchut from receiving light, is executed in the 10 sefirot the Sof and Siyum, from Tabu down to the end of the Etzbaot Aglin. These two kinds of 10 sefirot are always called Chagat Ne'im. All 10 sefirot the Toch, from Peh to the Tabu, are called Chagat, and all 10 sefirot the Sof, from Tabu down, are called Ne'im.
So let's label that Chagat, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Neim, Netzach, Od, Yesod, and Malchut.
Yeah, this is if you refer to the whole Parzuf as 10 sefirot, and then the Rosh would be Kachab, or Chabad, doesn't mean that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's add that also. Kachab, Keter, Chochma, Bina. This is like Aaron just said, that if we look at the whole Parzuf, this whole Parzuf is 10 sefirot. We have Kachab, Chagat, Neim.
Yeah, what's important to pay attention is not to like stick to the diagram so much. Again, hello, this is like impossible angles. So what's important to pay attention to here is that the diagram that we, as we draw it in a general form of the Parzuf, is one. And you need to understand that in every aspect of the Parzuf, you have these three parts, because you always have a restriction over the will to receive. And then this restriction and mating creates two parts in the will to receive until the Gmar Tikkun, in which there is no Sof. But until then, there is always a division of two, the part in which I can come into adhesion with the Creator and the part in which I cannot, okay? So it's like in our body, in every part, organ, or whatever cell, there is some kind of a brain, some kind of a thinking part, and an active, some kind of action, some kind of inaction. So this is very similar. Okay, so just to say that this diagram is just a diagram. Okay, it's like it references a very specific concept or specific thing, and just don't cling up to it. Okay, try to understand more the how do you say, like the
Meaning, internality.
Yeah, the meaning, the internality of it, what stands behind it, and
So I just want to note two things that we read in this item before we take questions. And they are the two forces that are present in the Masach. So the first force is the clothing of the Or Choser. Two forces. Two forces in the Masach. let's see. So number one is, what do we say? Clothing. The clothing of the Or Choser. Or Choser. And two is the push, how do we call it? Masach, the detaining. Detaining, or let's call it blocking. Blocking I guess you could say the Or Yashar. And in fact, I guess these kind of happen the other way around. So first we stop everything. There's no direct light. We immediately cease it, and then we can decide what we can actually clothe. Now, what's important here is that these two forces in the Masach are roots to subsequent actions, and these actions manifest in the Toch and the Sof, respectively. So this force manifests here in the Guf, and this force manifests also in the Guf, in the Sof of the Guf, as opposed to the Toch for the first one. Okay.
Question?
Yep, that's it.
Please, Benjamin, you wrote you have a question.
Yeah. Hey guys. So why is like the three Sephirot, Hized, Jivera, and Tiferet being clothed? Like, so you're saying the Messiah actually clothes these qualities with bestowal somehow, receiving in order to bestow?
This is the question.
Chesed, Gemara, Tiferet. You're talking about Chagat here?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
What is it?
So what's the question about it?
The question is, why are those three Sephirot in that part of the Guf?
Why? Okay.
Why are they?
Why is Chagat part of the Guf?
Why Chagat is?
Why is this Chagat? Why isn't it some like other Sfirot?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
Why is it?
Because if you, I don't know, you want to go into 4 phases of direct light. First of all, let's do it like let's let go a bit of the diagram and then we'll go back to it. So first of all, everything has 10 sfirot, okay? So you have a certain portion, doesn't matter if it's a steak, a potato, mashed potatoes, or salad. It's a complete dish, okay? It's 10 sfirot on its own. These 10 sfirot, you need to do calculation on it, okay? So these are 10 sfirot of Rosh. And then you need to receive what you can from the mashed potatoes. This will be the 10 sfirot of the Torah. And you'll have a part that you cannot use the mashed potato in order to bestow because it would be a part of reception, too much pleasure. This would be 10 sfirot of Sof. So each one has 10 sfirot. On each thing, you need to do a complete calculation. What can you use? What can you not use? And then implement that, okay? This is milechatchila, like from the beginning. This is like
given,
given or pre-given or whatever. You can say that. Okay. Having said that, this is a nice word. Huh?
Having said that,
yeah, this is good.
Together with that,
having said that, I'm sounding like I know English. Having said that, now you can divide the whole Parzuf into parts, okay, from the 10 sfirot. So going back to 4 phases of direct light, if you remember something like that. So in 4 phases of direct light, that everything comes, all the 10 sfirot comes from it, okay? This is like the DNA, Yudke Vavke, the source of the structure of anything. So in there you add root as the keter, as the thought. Then you add the creature receiving without any response, as just being created. And this was the step 1 or chokhmah. And then it senses the desire to bestow in the light after Bchina Aleph, after the first, after phase 1. It senses the giver, actually, the sense of of bestow in the light, in the pleasure itself, and it wants to be like that. This is called phase 2. Do you remember what I'm talking about? You understand? Benjamin, you're with me?
Yeah, you're talking about Hasidim next, and then
No, not about Chasadim. I'm talking in terms of phases. You had phase 0, 1, 2. You remember that?
yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So phase 0 was on the creator itself. Phase 1 was like a reaction to the reception, and then phase 2 was a reaction, like a reaction to the bestow, right? These were all reactions, okay? That's why these are all considered, the first 3 steps are considered coming on the part of the creator, okay? Like initial steps, like the creating of the forces or whatever. That's why the 3 first sfirot are always the Rosh. So it's Keter, Chokhmah, Binah are 3 sfirot of Rosh, calculation, okay? Before any true action on the side of the creature, okay? Then after that, what happens in phase 3? So usually in the simplest way of explaining the 4 phases of direct light, what we're saying is that
So all of those phases so far have been in the Rosh. Keter, Chokhmah, and Binah, they've all been in the Rosh. Now we're entering the Guf, phase 3.
Yes.
Zeranpin.
So in phase 3, Zeranpin or Tiferet, what happens? We usually say in a simplistic way in the beginning of Pticha, we're saying that because like the creature wanted to continue to bestow, like Binah, but because it's not the source of the light, it had to receive a bit in order to continue to bestow. You remember this explanation, what I'm saying? What I'm referring? Well, this is a very shallow explanation. What actually happens in a higher resolution, it's not the complete resolution, but in a higher resolution than that, what happens is that Bina actually wants to bestow. In the end of Bina, phase 2, when it wants to bestow, it actually asks itself, how can I bestow to the creator? It doesn't need anything. It doesn't have a leg. What can I do? Like, who am I bestowing to? And then it understands that in order to bestow, it needs to understand or create out of itself a will to receive. That will be in order to bestow to the creator. If you want, in the allegory of the host and the guest, after rejecting completely the food, I need to understand, so what is it in me that I can actually do or receive in order to bestow, okay? If it's not the genuine or the original hunger, okay? So what Bina does, it actually mimics or לשחזר.
Reproduces.
לשחזר, like you find in archaeology, you find this like ruined place and you want to rebuild it, like rebuild it from the beginning, like try to make it like it was. How do you say לשחזר? Let me check.
Restore?
It's like reproduce.
What?
Restore?
Yeah, restore. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a nice word. Okay, so it wants to restore, or it wants to mimic what the creator does, okay? So now it's saying, let's do what the creator does. So it splits into 6 sfirot. So chesed is like keter, so it's trying to be like the keter. Then gvura is like chokhmah. Then tiferet is like binah in the body. Then netzach is like Zeranpin itself, Od is like the Malchut itself, and Yesod is like the calculation, the sum of it, okay? And then it understands in Yesod, whoa, what I really need actually is not just to receive and not just to bestow. What I really need is to come to adhesion with the thought of creation itself, meaning I need to be like the creator, meaning receiving or bestowing is just 2 actions, and it's not about me being like an angel receiving or like an angel bestowing, like an animal receiving or an angel bestowing. This is like a beginner's mistake when they usually think, oh, now we're receiving, so I need to bestow. No, that's not about it. You need to rise above reception and bestow in order to come to adhesion with the thought of creation. This is what actually Malchut wants, okay? Malchut actually wants to become instead of the creator. That's why it's called Malchut. It wants to rule. Malchut is from the word melech, king, like kingdom. So it wants to rule instead of the creator. It wants to be the thought, the source of everything, okay? So that's why Chagat Ne'i, this is actually the body, okay? That's why Tiferet is actually the body. And in this body, as I've said, there is also a part that it's more similar to the creator, the first three, which are like the Rosh of the body, like the creator in the creature, and the Toch and the Sof of the body, which are like Netzach, Od, and Yesod. And Malchut itself, of course, is what is, for now, until we correct it, is the part that we cannot use in order to bestow. That's why we actually...
So you would move Malchut like below the Siyum?
So we don't move Malchut below the Siyum now, because it's not the true Malchut after the Tzimtzum.
We're talking about this.
Yeah, so Dan is asking, so you can say that Malchut is actually the empty void, and that is true. The real Malchut is the empty void, but
you have Malchuyot all over the place.
yeah, but now we're not talking about the real Malchut, we're talking about the Malchut after the Tzimtzum, and then we'll get to Tzimtzum Bet, you'll see that it's much more complicated, okay? Why is this, where do we have this complication for? Okay, and you need to understand. This is very important. Every pixel you'll take from the creation, just like the whole creation, you'll find everything in it. So what does it mean to have all the information in it? It means to have the creator in it. What does it mean to have the creator in it? For me as a creature, I'm limited. And as long as I attain reality in the form of time, meaning that there was a corrected state, now there is a corrupted state, afterwards there would be a gradual correction in which I can sometimes use something, not use something, and this all the time changes according to my state until I come to the end of correction in which I can reuse everything again. So it means that there is a huge split inside of us in a perception that are like multi-level levels of perception coexisting at once. And this confuses the shit out of us. Like, it's not nice, right? This is like completely confuses us, it totally confuses us. So we really need to define every time what are we asking for, or what specific level are we talking about. That's why you'll see that if you'll ask Rav Lightman, for example, a question, then if you'll ask on the behalf of the creator, he will throw you out of the stairs, because we never talk about the creator, because you cannot explain
Not
that.
on behalf, you mean like from the perspective
Yeah, like
of...
from the perspective. What did the creator wanted to do? What did the creator wanted to say? Right? Sit down, okay? Now, if you ask in a confused way, he'll always try to understand where are you coming from? Like, what are you asking about? From what specific state? That's why, in order to engage into wisdom, you always need to limit yourself to a very specific context. That's why usually we never ask about anything that is beside of what we are just reading. Because if you try to connect different places, but in the beginning of Pticha we talked like this, and now we're talking like that, and like, you cannot get out of it because you cannot talk, you cannot not negotiate, discuss. You cannot discuss in different levels of perception. This is very important to understand. Even though they are all true. They are all true on different levels. Just like quantum physics and Newton physics are true, but on different resolution. So if you try to come to Newtonic physics and say, I want to understand how this heat passes the energy. But we know from quantum physics that each particle is connected to the other particle. And if you change one, everything changes. So there is no actually one item and a second item that hits it. This is a complete system. And now when it hit it, it's not the same system, right? But if you do that, you won't have Newton physics. You won't have anything. So it's very important to understand the context.
So I have a question. Below the peh, okay, the
Yes.
creature is trying to create a mini model of how to bestow. Is this what's going on
Yeah.
here?
In fact, it actually
So,
creates.
because I want to ask questions like this because I think that Kabbalah is really confusing for the most part. But if I can simplify it somehow, then I think the rest of the world would have such an easier time like accepting it because it's so out there. But I think there's something really good here. But I would like to somehow understand it so simply that I could explain it to anybody. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So if that's what's going on below the Peh, that the creature is actually trying to create a mini model on learning how to bestow, and it's and I guess it's going through some kind of a process here. So
Yeah, that's what we're trying
do
to
continue.
do also. As you see, it takes a few years
First
for
of all,
this very simple thing to
yeah,
sink in.
I don't think I would talk to anybody about Chagat unless we're sitting and smoking or drinking something, and the atmosphere is very good. So I wouldn't start there, but what you need to understand, I wouldn't say that it creates a mini model. This happens in the 4 phases of direct light. I would say that all the model, everything from the calculation until the end of execution happens in the Rosh. It just unfolds differently in different parts, okay? So like the Toch is the execution of the part in which you can receive in order to bestow. And the Sof is the execution of the part in which you cannot receive in order to bestow. But they were all in the Rosh. That's what he's saying here, that the two forces were in the Rosh simultaneously in the Masach. They just unfold differently in the execution.
Yeah. So below the second Malhut, it seems like that's like waste. It can't. It just can't process that information, so it goes into like a waste. Is that what's going on there?
We have full restriction on Malchut because Malchut, they're just kilim that can't be corrected, I guess, until the final correction. At the final, like once you correct everything above Malchut, then you get like kind of a bonus all the way at the end as like the sum of its parts, and that enables us to correct Malchut and receive the rest of the light. But the whole thing is really, it's much simpler. If you think about it, like you have this interaction between the creator and the creature. And this process of creation is just the creature coming to know the full kind of splendor and greatness of the creator, to be able to essentially realize the goal of creation, right? Which is to bring contentment to the creature. So the more the creature knows about the creator, about the host that's giving to it, the more it enjoys and benefits from that. So the whole thing with the screen and everything, all of this is just to come into more adhesion with the creator, because adhesion with the creator is like being in the same spot. It's being the creator. And in spirituality, we know, like, proximity is similarity of form. So when we're exactly like the creator, only then do we attain truly what the creator is. And that's kind of what's in the thought of creation the whole time, to bring us back to that.
What Dan said is the most important thing. If you get confused, remember that in the end, there is nothing beside the creature, the creator, and the goal, which is adhesion. So if you think in terms of adhesion, then I wouldn't use the word waste now, because nothing goes into waste. But when I want to come into adhesion, the goof, the toch.
Let's call it dvekut.
Yeah, dvekut. So the toch is the expression of what I can use from myself in order to give contentment by receiving. The sof is what I can give from myself, being in dvekut with the creator, by not receiving. I'm also doing an action there. I'm not receiving. I'm giving up all the self, okay? I'm willing to give up everything just to be in adhesion with the creator. It's a huge action. I just don't have the strength to receive and bestow by that.
So dvekut is it's adhesion, I guess, literally, but it's really like merging or melding. It's like, being one with. So this is whenever we say like adhesion, just translate it to dvekut and vice versa. You're going to hear dvikut a lot because this is essentially the goal. And this is what's happening here in the toch. The idea is to turn everything, all the or yashar, into internally dvikut here. Is to make everything below the screen toch, and to correct the sof. All right, shall we move on?
We have more questions, but we can move on.
Let's do one more item. And
Okay.
then we'll go. Yeah.
Okay.
Item 51, page 592.
We should also know that the issue of the tzimtzum was only on the Or Chochmah, whose kli is the will to receive, that ends at Bchina Dalet, where the tzimtzum and the masach occurred. Yet there was no tzimtzum at all on the Or Chasadim there, since its kli is the will to bestow, in which there are no aviyut and disparity of form from the emanator, and which does not need any corrections. Hence, in the 10 sefirot of the upper light, these two lights, Chochmah and Chasadim, are linked together without any difference between them, since they are one light that expands according to its quality. For this reason, when they come to close in the kelim after the tzimtzum, the Or Chasadim stops at Malchut, 2, even though it was not restricted. This is so because had the Or Chasadim expanded in a place where the Or Chochmah could not expand even a bit, the ending Malchut there would be shattering in the upper light, as the Or Chasadim would have to be completely separated from the Or Chochmah. Hence, the ending Malchut became an empty space devoid of even the Or Chasadim.
Okay, so what's going on? So here we discover a new law that says the light cannot split. Okay, so if we look at it like, all right, so we have a screen. We have screen, masach. Masach. Below the masach, we have Malchut. Malchut, which is blocked from being a vessel of the direct light. Now we can fill Malchut, but not directly. That's the rule. We can fill it, but not directly. And so what's happening? So we have two lights coming in. It's one. Well, this is the whole point of this item, is that it's one light, but this single light has two indivisible components, Or Chochmah and Or Chasadim. All right, so let's label those guys. Chochmah.
Yeah, maybe just say that it's not in the light itself, it's how we perceive the light. Like.
Yeah, like if you have white light, there's a bunch of colors.
The light is one. When we just not to, so you won't be confused. The light is one. The creature divides it to Or Chasadim and Or Chochmah.
Right, in its perception. Oops. Okay. And so you can think of this as like just being one single indivisible object. So what we're hearing here is that although the light of Chasadim, which is bestowal, can actually permeate everywhere, and in fact it does even now. The problem is that Chochmah cannot enter Malchut as is. We'll see in a second what happens here in the Sof, for example. But the point is that these guys cannot split. Okay, this is for item 51. So this is one singular light. So okay, so what example can we have? So I was thinking of different examples yesterday. One example in our world could be, and these are all like kind of imprecise examples, but if you have, for example, water, and let's say you can only have, I don't know, like hydrogen down here. So so the water, like, H2O is water. and you're only allowed to have hydrogen down here. The water can't permeate this membrane without splitting into two things. So let's say if only hydrogen is allowed down here, then we can't split it You see what I'm saying? Obviously, you can split water pretty easily with electrolysis, but we're not allowed to do that with the upper light. Okay, so the upper light behaves differently than water. And in fact, water represents chasadim. So that's actually a better example than I thought, but okay.
Yeah, but
Another, hold on, one more example
okay.
is like a more emotional one, is you have a party. And, whoops, pardons. You have a party and you have two friends.
I can't see it. It's on your overlays over top of it.
Okay, I'll move it in a second.
Move
Thank
it
you.
down or something.
I'm moving it. So you have two friends and they're inseparable, but you only like one of them. So if you invite one, the other one has to come. So that's a problem for you because you don't want them at your party. That was my emotional example.
Now
like
we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere.
a robot simulating what it would feel like.
He broke the place down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why go like this? Like let's say, for example, I thought now when you said about it,
Just off the top of your head.
Yeah, no, just like maybe it's not exact example, but let's say that I cannot pass love without without some external object to carry the love. So, and if, for example, I cannot touch you because you are in a bidud, because you are
Quarantine?
Yeah, because you're in quarantine, I cannot touch you, I cannot pass you presence. So how can I pass you love? So theoretically, I can give you love. You have no problem with love. You only have problem with me touching you or me giving you gifts. See what I'm saying?
No.
Let's say you're in quarantine.
Yeah.
So you cannot have somebody else touch you or pass you something because it would be with germs, okay? And you don't have immune system.
That I get, yeah.
Okay, but you can receive love. You must have love. Without love, you won't survive.
Okay.
Okay, but you cannot receive any other objects because it will come a germ. Okay, So, but I cannot pass you love without it. I cannot pass you the love without it. I cannot just say, no, I love you. You won't feel it. Okay, so this is one example.
Okay, what about this example? Just so I can see if I'm on the right track here. So if I want to feed my dog something that he doesn't like a pill, I wrap it in some meat.
Yeah, but what cannot he receive here? Now we're talking not about he is not wanting to receive something that he needs to receive. Now we're talking about an example for something that is clothing something else, like you said in the example. You gave an example of clothing, but the receiver cannot actually receive one of the two. It cannot. It makes him ill. It makes him die. Okay, but he must receive the other. Without the other, he won't survive. So you have a problem. This is the problem. Because chasadim you can receive. Chasadim is like chasadim you can receive. It's like the clothing for the or chokhmah. The or chokhmah is the energy, is the life itself, but you cannot actually receive the life. Because if you receive chokhmah as is, you'll die. Like in this case of the tzimtzum.
It's like in computing when you encapsulate something, right? So the other system gets the capsule with a payload inside it, removes the capsule, right? Pulls the payload out and sticks it in. The actual capsule is gone now. It's, well, not part of what it received. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, in computers, again, this is example of clothing. That you have it, for example, in internet. I'm not a programmer like Dan, but I know that in internet. Yeah, in internet, I know that you have it. That if I want to send like an email, then you have different levels of routers or whatever, and one router close it, and the information send it to another router. It opens it, then it closes it again, and that's how you encrypt.
So the point is that here you can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't. There is no encapsulation here. There's an inseparable light. You cannot split this. That's the point that we're making. You cannot split the light. You can't. even if you only want chasadim, it always comes with chokhmah.
So Dan,
I have an example, maybe, like an emotional example. That
Go
there are
ahead.
a brother and a sister in an orphanage, and the couple wants to adopt the girl, but they don't want the boy.
Okay.
Okay.
That's sad.
Do they
That's
have names?
emotional.
Yeah, if
Yep.
Aviva, if you would give them names, we would be crying. You can give them names in the beginning of
Let's say it's two brothers, Eran and Dan.
Oh,
Okay.
you see?
Yeah.
No, don't go there. No, we can do it in Spanish. It will look more original, like in the soap opera. No, but actually, yeah, but again, this is not an example that, let's say that if I'm going into the house, I'm just going to break the whole place down. This is what he wants to say here. All your examples are about clothing. That's correct. But the problem here, and maybe we should reread it. The problem here that he mentions is about the light of Chokhmah cannot go inside of Malchut. If it goes, then we have a
You
problem.
know what? Yeah, you can think of it like this actually.
But
Is
this, I thought that my thing was, if the boy goes with a girl, and so the deal is off. They're not taking any of them.
Okay.
So remember, this is the creature has established this. The creature itself has established all of these rules. It's the one that performed the restriction. It's the one that erected the masach. It's the one that doesn't want any chokhmah in malchut. Why? Because chokhmah to malchut is poison, literal poison. Like chokhmah entering malchut is death, spiritual death in like separation from the creator. Okay, so we have poison, and we also have not poison, water. Okay, literally water. So chasadim, so like you need the water to survive, but the poison will kill you that's in the water. Okay, so how do we get around this? And we'll see in the next point that we do get around this, like in the sof. In the sof, we get around this because here there is chasadim. This is full of chasadim. So how can this have chasadim without chokhmah? Well, it turns out it does have chokhmah, but it has it in such a small amount. It's called illumination of chokhmah. So it has like a small amount of poison where it's kind of allowed to be there without killing the creature.
I thought of an example. This is so cool, this stuff, and I'm really happy that we're doing this discussion. This is like the essence of Kabbalah. This is like the essence of it. This is like the problem of the creator. How do you create something outside of yourself that will have a driving force, meaning a will to receive, but this will to receive will kill it because it separates it from the creator. So this is like the essence of Kabbalah. This is like with our kids. I'm growing up a boy. On one hand, raising, sorry. So I'm raising a boy. So if this boy needs to have ego, because if it won't have ego, it won't want to catch the whole world, swallow it all. He wouldn't get up in the morning and have this motivation to go and do and build himself. But I know that when he uses this ego, he will have pride. He will go against me because he'll need to be independent. This will cause him all the sorrow. He will have disappointments. So theoretically, I would just leave my boy at home and give him everything so he won't be sad. He won't know any failure, no crisis. Just hug him and kiss him and help him. But this won't be a boy. This would be like a sick creature that will suffer even more later on, because it's again natural process. So this is the essence. This is like the essence of the problem. This is why the wisdom of Kabbalah is called Kabbalah, because Kabbalah in its essence is to receive, because the point is to receive. But what is the wisdom that you can actually fulfill this will to receive without causing endless suffering and endless darkness? This is like the main point. Now, again, what one Dan referred to as a solution, this is like the solution for the solve. There is an even deeper resolution for that we're not using the true Malchut.
That the true malchut remains empty.
Yeah, this means I don't want to confuse because I won't be answering any questions about this. I'll just say it in the air. I'll leave it on the table. I'm not going to discuss it now because it's not for now. But all of the creation, all of the partsuf, everything that is being built above the true malchut is a game. It's a game. It's not the real thing. So we're just playing a way to Gmar Tikkun, and then in the end we'll use the real thing. That's
Okay.
it. We have a ton of questions.
Item 52.
What? People are actually sending me questions in WhatsApp. Maybe because we don't answer them in the chat. So now,
That's what I would do.
so they got my number. So you have okay, that's scary. Okay, so we're going to be stalked. Maybe leave time for questions.
Item 52. I think we're very ripe for this item.
Really? You're not going to answer questions? Okay, good. Let's continue. Like the best solution for unanswered question after singing a song, which is like singing a song together, this is like the ultimate solution. It's like the complete restart of everything, is just continuing with the material. Item 52. Now we can understand the content of the 10 sefirot, the sof of the Partzuf from Tabu down. It cannot be said that they are only considered Or Chasadim, without any Chokhmah at all, since the Or Chasadim is never completely separated from the Or Chokhmah. Rather, there is necessarily a small illumination of the Or Chokhmah in them as well. You should know that we always call this small illumination Vak without a Rosh. Thus, the three discernments of the 10 Sefirot in the Partzuf called Rosh, Toch, and Sof have been explained.
Back. We usually say bli, because bli is without, B-L-I. Bli, Rosh. Vak, bli, Rosh. Vak without Rosh. Vak is Vav Ktsavot, right? Vav Ktsavot. That is the 6 endings. So, if that helps. That's item 52. So, the content of the 10 sefirot of the sof from the tabur down. So, that's these guys. So, like we said, it's not just Or Chasadim without any chokhmah, but it has a little bit of chokhmah, a little bit of illumination to not only sustain these kelim, because they need that chokhmah, because chokhmah is life, but also to observe the law of not breaking the light at all. Let's do another one.
Another one, okay.
Or should we
53.
do, hold on a second.
I don't know.
Okay, you know what? This
Whatever
is already a different topic. 53 is the clothing of the Partzufim. What, you want to do those next week?
Maybe, yes, I don't know. Whatever you say, there are a lot of questions,
Okay, so let's take questions then.
So how did that not break the creature when you gave it just a little bit of illumination of Hakma? Like, how did that? How did the creature?
It's just like with poison. Like just a drop, a little bit of poison won't kill you. In fact, you can build an immunity to it. Not that there's immunity to chokhmah or anything, but it's like that. Like it's just enough. And in fact, that's what we're experiencing right now. All the pleasures of this life are illumination of chokhmah. Like any little pleasure in this life, whatever it is, like all the pleasures that drive us like day to day, from the smallest ones to the greatest ones, that's all how we perceive chokhmah. And in fact, that is killing us because that's separating us. It's feeding our ego and it's separating us from the creator. So it's like we know how that feels.
Yeah, it's very similar to how we acquire chasadim from below upwards. Because for our ego from below upwards, chasadim is death. This is like a poison to bestow. So it's all about in the end, just like Dan said, like building tolerance for the poison. How do you do that? Gradually, pixel by pixel. That's why we have time. That's why we have this huge process. Every time we get accumulated or get accustomed to a bit more of bestow, a bit more of giving up of the self, either by suffering, that the creator blows us up, and then we get to suffer more and more. That's how humanity advances. So now we can suffer much more internal pain than we used to 2,000 years ago. That's why you have all this internal emptiness, or like we do in studying Kabbalah. That's why you say that patience is the most highest attribute of all. Patience in Hebrew, sablanut, comes from the root of sevel.
It's like tolerance almost.
Of tolerance, of suffering, of... in English, there is a very cool word called... like tolerance, but in a cool word. Tilt, not tilt. Like, wow, what's that word? Forgot it. Very cool word. In just a second, I'll try to find it. It's like, grit. Okay, grit. Grit, yeah, G-R-I-T. This is like the best word because it's saying like endurance in order to accomplish a goal in one word. How much are you capable of endurance challenges and problems in order to accomplish a goal? And there is a correlation even in our world between grit and success or happiness or whatever, even on a psychological level. So in spirituality, it's all about the capability of suffering or accepting. In Hebrew, patience and suffering is the same thing. So it means like the ability to carry a weight, okay? So you're like getting accustomed to accept more and more of bestow, although it's poison for you, but you build this tolerance above it until you are completely capable of revealing the Creator. Because if the Creator would reveal himself right now for you, you'll be like, you'd rather die than sense that, because it's completely opposite to you. So this is very cool. So we have also text questions.
Okay.
Lucian is asking, where are the 5 lights of the soul located in the Partzuf, Naran Chai?
I think they're everywhere. Any filling of the Kli has the. So I guess when we talk about, we're not going to get to Nikudot today, or like the weakening of the Partzuf. Where are they? I don't want to be imprecise here.
Yeah, now let's just leave it, because now he's not talking about it on a soul level. He's just talking about the lights as they are, so they are referred to here as 10 sfirot, according to the vessel. So he's talking about the lights of Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Malchut. Later on, you'll see that Naran Chai actually comes, it's all in the Or Yashar, all of it, and then how much you can receive, it depends, because after the second restriction that we'll get to in a few lessons, you cannot use more than Neshama. So you have Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. But this is not for now. Migiolana is saying endurance for what we said before. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's good.
Next question. Alessandro is asking, also everything in our material reality is made of 10 sfirot, or only spirituality is reality is made, or only spiritual reality is made of 10 sfirot?
This is a hard question to answer, because you can say yes, but like, you know, if there's no way to really back that up with evidence, then it's kind of hard to, it's like, yeah, everything is 10 sfirot. Everything down to, I don't know, like the most elementary particle consists of 10 sfirot, up to, you know, the entire universe being 10 sfirot, but it's corporeal, and this corporeal existence is imaginary anyway, so it disappears. So it doesn't mean that it's 10 sfirot. Like like a spiritual atom is 10 sfirot in spirituality. The elementary particle of spirituality is 10 sfirot.
Yeah, it's like just like Dan said. You need to attain the Creator to have 10 sfirot, because 10 sfirot are from the Creator to the creature. If you attain the Creator, there is no corporal reality, because it was like a dream.
But this concept of 10 sfirot, which is what we're studying, like the study of the 10 sfirot, the study of everything, it's like, it's more profound. Like it's a very basic and fundamental kind of part of existence that, as we continue studying, we see that it's just like a very natural and pervasive concept.
Yeah, but also in our world, you have this division, like you have inanimate, vegetative, animal,
yeah, you can divide it like
speaking. You have 5 senses according to the same structure. you have a, I don't know what, you have a structure of colors, you have all kinds of phenomena in our world. Okay, Lou is asking, can we say that Chagat is part of the Ranpin with characteristic to bestow? Yes, that's, we talked about it before. Okay, Ken is asking, like if the party, this is about the party before. Like if the party was close to the fire code and only one person could come and you needed them there, but had no room for the friend that was absolutely going to come. Okay.
Yeah.
Ora is asking, so what does the text say is the solution? Ora, we're not about solutions. We're more about questions. Because these develop the vessels, and anyway, answers come from within or from above.
But it does say that that there's an illumination of Chokhmah, I guess. If we're still talking about that, there's, that's what we mentioned before,
Yeah,
just a small dose.
Item 52, you can reread it. Karen is asking, what about the perception of reality? Could it be that two people can see the same thing very different depending on their understanding of the light?
Yeah, of course. That's why the two people aren't the same person.
Okay. Alec and Dejan, so the small amount of poison in the water is the medication left and right. The small amount of poison in the water is the medication. I don't know, it's like medicine, maybe, left and right.
I think we talked about it.
Yeah, but what is left and right? I didn't understand. Like understand everything
Like
until
the right and left lines, maybe he's talking about?
Yeah, but left and right lines are of correction. It's not, let's not confuse. Chasadim and Chokhmah are lights. Left and right are how I proceed in the correction from below upwards. Yeah, okay. Ora is asking, are there different solutions or only one solution? To what problem? This is the question. Different solution. Maybe she refers to the process of correction. I don't know. Then he's asking, then he's saying, okay, a homeopathic drug, that's why medicine is represented by a snake. Okay, okay, so he's just referring to what was. That's it. More questions, live questions?
Yeah, sure. So what do you guys want us to take out of this lesson if you had to summarize it in a couple words?
This one is definitions. We want you to internalize this and get comfortable with it. How you have the Rosh, you have the Or Yashar, which consists of two lights, Chokhmah and Chasadim. You have two Malchuyot, two screens, one screen that's performing a zivug, Malchut HaMizdeveget, and one screen that's blocking the transfer of the light any further into the Kli, Malchut HaMisayemet, that's ending the Toch. You have the Toch, which is in Dvekut with the Creator, and you have the Sof, which is not in full Dvekut with the Creator. The Sof is also called Vak Bli Rosh. It's Chasadim with an illumination of Chokhmah, whereas Toch is full light, which is Chokhmah clothed in Chasadim. This clothing comes as a result of the 10 Sfirot that are emanated as the Or Choser, clothing the 10 Sfirot of the Or Yashar. That part is the Rosh, which is the root or the potential Kilim. The Rosh contains two forces. There are two forces, I guess, in the Masach of the Rosh. The first force is the one that, or the first force, let's call it, is the one that's stopping the Or Yashar from entering the vessel at all. And the second force is the one that's actually clothing the Or Yashar, the intention to bestow. So I have first, the deal is that I'm not accepting any of the food at all on the table. Second part of the deal is that I can kind of look at that food and imagine what it would be like to take that for the sake of bestowal. Those two forces manifest as the Toch, imagining what it would be like to take it for the sake of bestowal. In practice, when I actually accept it for the sake of bestowal, that becomes the Toch. and everything else that remains after that manifests as the sof. The sof ends at the siyum, or the etzbaot raglin, and below that we have an empty void that is just completely taken out of the calculation of all of these kilim.
Now ask me the same question. Ask me, no? Ask me.
Okay, I'm going to ask you too, but so
No, no.
this process right now is happening from above downwards, correct?
No, Benjamin. No. Ask me the same question.
How would you summarize
Okay.
this?
What would you want the class to take away from this lesson? Iran.
Just what we need from every class. Just a deficiency to relate to the wisdom somehow, to connect somehow to Bala Sulam, to be closer to the light so it will work on us. Just this internal yearning to understand that these materials that have no use whatever practically for us in our world will somehow rearrange our internality in a way that will come to a closer balance with nature.
It's working.
That's just
It's working. You're doing a great job.
two perfect good answers. But just for everyone else, we're talking about this creature right now is working its way from above downwards, correct? Is that what's happening? What you guys are doing? Okay. So on our next class, it's going to keep going down this parsuf as it calculates more and more. And I guess in the end, it's going to realize that it wants it all, probably, I guess, and it shatters.
Item, that's not going to be in the next class. The next class,
Oh.
it looks like item 53 is going to be how the partsufim kind of come out one another. Because we've been focusing on one partsuf here. This is just one single abstract partsuf in the middle, one partsuf of possibly many in the middle of nowhere. Next, we're going to talk about how we form the world of Adam Kadmon, how one partsuf clothes on the next partsuf, or on its previous partsuf, and how they kind of develop that way. That's going to be the next lesson.
Kabbalah talks only from above downwards, and the whole process from above downwards is revealing what is the heart, the essence of the oppositeness of the creature from the creator. So like what all the process tries to do is to scrutinize what we can fix in order to bestow. It breaks on the way, it finds more malfunctions, it tries to correct it, and it does all these actions until we scrutinize what exactly is the point that we need to correct. And then what Kabbalah says, it just gives you general principles to how to correct yourself from below upwards. And everything else is up to you. That's basically it. We have more questions in text. Ken is asking, so if the light of Chokhmah was to enter into Malchut, then it would obliterate the creature with the force of the light, and then there would be no more dialogue between creature and creator. So the concealment is necessary for the proper dialogue to happen.
Yep, that's correct. The concealment is absolutely necessary. And in fact, later on, like in Genesis, when we talk about like a similar thing, because this notion of tzimtzum happens kind of over and over. Restriction. There's the first restriction, the second restriction. There's a shattering, which is like a restriction imposed not by the creature, but kind of like a mistake. And there's the sin of Adam HaRishon. So if you remember, in Genesis, what happens is after Adam eats from the tree of knowledge, this or chokhmah, essentially. Chokhmah is wisdom, right? Knowledge. It's a dat. So the creator erects a barrier in front of the Garden of Eden, which we'll find out. We'll see where that is a little bit later. And the creator says, so that he will not eat from the tree of life and live forever. Because the problem with the creature eating from the tree of life or consuming chokhmah afterwards is that the creature will lose its independence and will just become an angel like the rest of the angels. And the creator's
this is the key word. Not the concealment is necessary not for a dialogue, but for the independence. So.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, next question. Alessandro is asking, How Malchut of Ein Sof discover all this? How can the egoism discovered as in something perfect?
So that is a good question. And it happens, this is all instinct. What we're talking about here is instinct. The creature with a zivug daka, all of this like complex structure and stuff, this is all happening entirely just automatically. This is just a creature that it's like, you know, you can think of like just any basic like one-celled organism like a bacteria or something just reacting to its input, or like a plant. You know, you have the sun shining, the plant automatically, as if, you know, it doesn't have a central nervous system, but somehow it knows to start growing in the direction of the sun. All of these things happen automatically. Where does all this wisdom come from? How automatically is this like creature that was like, you know, just born yesterday, so to speak, capable of building this complex structure? It's because it's being developed by the light, by the creator. The entire wisdom and omnipotence of the creator is encoded in the light. So the influence of the light naturally, as a result of that, this structure emerges.
I would just add to that how can the egoism be revealed in something perfect? What is more perfect than egoism? It's the only thing that was created. The only thing that was created is the egoism, because it's the greatest gift that was given to the creature in order to express its, how do you say, like its self-sacrifice, yeah, like its devotion to the creator. Without this gift, without this flaw, that it's the only thing that was created, this darkness, the only thing that was created is suffering. And without that, there would be no possibility for the creature to attain the creator. And that's why it is called that it's meshabeach chasadim. It's like
Praising?
It's like praising, it's like upgrading to premium the whole of creation. So it's all
Okay,
about
but just not
wait,
to.
wait, Benjamin, wait, we have more questions before you, sorry. People that didn't ask yet. Okay, so where was we? James is saying, I'm sorry for being late. This is like an understatement, 5 minutes before the end of the lesson. Okay, but we forgive you, James.
No, maybe it's just writing it now.
What?
Maybe that's just when that message
No,
came
that's
through.
424. Okay.
Maybe that's when it sank in.
It came late to the understanding.
Could have been 2 minutes late.
Oh, you're justifying people very sophisticated. Okay, Marcel is asking, I'm not sure, Randan, if it's the right question. If I'm a hologram, how can I influence the hologram to influence me? Oh, you like this question, huh? If I'm a hologram, how can I influence the hologram to influence me?
Oh, jeez. I don't know where to start.
Like, why do you think you influence anything?
Why do you think you're a hologram?
Yeah, okay. For yourself, you're not a hologram. Okay, this is like theoretical question. Alexander is asking, so we are going to attain the creator by means of receiving the bad to be used freely, since the creator is everything. If we attain neutrality, since there is no good and bad, and is that becoming God? Is that, please talk about the game, is that we cannot, no, I said I'm not talking about the game, but what you actually wrote is like Nietzsche or something. This is like great philosophy, yeah? People related to the question of bad, that if the bad is also from the creator, so we can be bad, you know. Let's just go and massacre everybody, and this is like what the creator wants. Hey, if I want to kill everybody and take drugs, so this is the desire of the creator. Well, no. You actually need to overcome that and use that in a proper way. But these are deep questions. This is like all the essence of human philosophy. Today we don't have philosophy. We have Instagram. But these questions were like through all of the history of humankind. All these questions about what does the creator wants. This is all the religions. This is like the hardcore stuff. But we're not going to talk about it in this course. Sorry, it's from the next course. Okay, now Benjamin, we have 1 minute. You want to let him ask? Or?
Sure.
Are you sure? We can just close it now. You know?
No, I wanted to ask. Quick question.
Okay.
I have one question.
Okay.
It's
Okay, good.
is coming from the last week, the last comment that you left without any further comment, what we call reality against how we distinguish something reality as non-reality. Do you consider to expand on it, or no, you just want to leave it as like?
We talked about it last time when Baal Sula mentioned the true Sfirot. What? It was last time? I don't remember.
True Sfirot?
Yeah, there's a place that is talking about the true Sfirot and what are not the true Sfirot. And we said that how can you actually differentiate a dream from reality? What you experience when you take LSD from reality? What you, I don't know, if you have a brain damage from reality, or even reality. After we enter spirituality, Kabbalists say that this reality that we called reality was actually like a dream. So what is real? This is a very complicated question. But let's stay realistic. After all, we're not philosophers and we're not about doing drugs. You need to separate where I want to be and where I am at. The bigger the gap between what I determine my current reality is to be and what I determine as what I understand of the spiritual reality, the bigger the gap, the greater the attainment of the Creator is. Because the Creator is the force that unifies all the contradictions into one, like the Chasadim and Chokhmah. So, and this is called the prayer. A true prayer, which is not egoistic prayer about oneself, is the incapability of connecting the desire of the Creator and the desire of oneself. That is also come from the Creator, but through the ego. So it seems like it's my own. But this is like part of the game.
Okay. I think we have to end here.
Okay.
Let people go to the lesson.
We have announcement.
Yes, we do.
Announcements. Okay. Thursday, grad lesson with Mike. Don't miss it. Sunday, meeting with friends and our young groups are back on schedule. Bring your questions and don't miss these opportunities to connect. That's it. By the way, if we haven't answered any question about anything at all, reality, suffering, whatever you want, please send it to info@kabyu, right? No.
It's kabyu at kabbalah.info.
kabyu.kabbalah.info. I'm not sure they'll answer you, but just send them. Whatever. Do your part.
There's a forum and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a forum.
Right now, for everybody that's tuned in live, there's a live lesson still happening right now. We have an hour and a half left, or about an hour actually. Right now, it looks like they're studying the study of the 10 Sfirot, which is what this class is preparing us for. So if you want to switch over to Kab TV to see what awaits all of us.
And guys, please be on time. We had like I don't know, like 15 or more people joining after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you're probably a bit lost. So this stuff is already hard as it is. Don't make it harder on yourself. And also try. And also a very good thing, I know when I'm teaching, I'm doing that all the time. Rewatch the last lesson before, like right before the next lesson. You'll see that you'll experience it completely differently.
Yeah, that's true. But we understand, like, people are in different time zones and they might be working, and it's like, so we get, so, it's not.
You're really empathetic.
Listen, if it's like 5 p.m. on the West Coast.
Okay, so since Dan is the good cop, I'm saying be on time. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.